My name is Michael Stromer, and today I'd like to give you a brief introduction into the course contents. But first, a little bit of background. I've been developing mobile applications at a variety of tech startups and tech companies in the past few years. And one of the things I've learned over these last few years is that outside of school, the work you do speaks for itself. And I think this is especially true in the software engineering world. I think a lot of tech companies can look at a potential applicant and see if they've developed a product and maintained it over the course of a year or so, that those candidates would be better qualified or better suited for a product company role. So that being said, I would like to give back the mobile development skills that I've gained over the past few years and instruct a larger online community on what it would take to produce these quality production applications. Students enrolled in this course will be learning the React Native syntax, and they'll also be creating apps for iOS and Android devices. In addition to that, they'll be deploying GraphQL microservices to power those applications. Some of the primary objectives of this course: we will be designing interactive products. Thanks to the wireframes that are presented at the beginning of each section, we'll know what we're building from scratch. And in addition to that, we'll be creating the reusable resources that we can reference throughout the course content. We'll also be implementing useful features that users can interact with on a daily basis. And through all the development work, we'll be understanding a microservices architecture to power a variety of microservices. So before we get into the course content, we would like to talk about the apps that we'll be developing in this course. So the course is divided into 4 sections. Each section is devoted to a new GraphQL technology, and it's also devoted to a single app project. And these app projects are as follows. The first one is a writing prompts application that will utilize queries to fetch a random prompt. The second project is a Bitcoin tracker that will leverage mutations to allow users to save their favorite Bitcoins and track their Bitcoin prices. The third project is a Reddit-style feed that will be subscribed to live updates on the feed. So as soon as your friend posts a new link in the channel, you will see it in your own feed immediately. The fourth and final project is a movie voting application that will allow users to log in and sign up to save their favorite films. Here are a couple of screenshots of the completed projects, including the writing app, the Reddit app, and the movies app. And before moving into the course content, I'd like to also briefly touch on GraphQL as a technology now. I don't see that many React Native, nor do I see that many React Native GraphQL tutorials out there in the online learning communities. So I'd like to present this opportunity to touch on some of the advantages of using GraphQL, including this snippet from a article that was produced by the Netflix technology blog, where they denote that GraphQL increased our development velocity and overall page load performance. I think this is especially true for the microservices architecture that we're building in these apps. I think GraphQL can be very intuitive for a front-end developer to get started with, and it can be very exciting to dig deeper into its capabilities. Netflix was able to transform its original traditional REST services architecture, which you do see on the left, to a more refined, modern GraphQL-based service architecture, which you see on the right. It leverages the GraphQL querying layer as an interface for the client so that the client knows exactly what it should expect from its respective microservices. Some other example apps that come to mind when thinking in React Native include the Instagram application, Pinterest, Skype, and Uber Eats. I think these applications have teams of engineers that maintain their popularity, and some of the things that they do very well is simply one thing. Each of these apps you can think of as a single pocket of information. So the key to these apps' successes is that they all do one thing really well. And for the majority of the course, we'll be focusing on doing one thing very well in each of these applications. So before getting started, we'd like to hear from you. Are there any mobile app ideas that you would like to build in this course? And if so, can you describe your app's target audience? If not, can you describe an app that you currently enjoy using? And one brief disclaimer to the course is that we use the Expo workflow. If you're not familiar with Expo, it is essentially the Create React app equivalent in React Native, where you can scaffold React Native apps in a matter of minutes. And getting started, we highly recommend digging into the Expo documentation. And we'll see you in the course.